Riders, welcome to Schladming, home to the world famous Schladming Bike Park. This place has been a bucket list for me to come for many years, an absolute dream. And Barry and I have been here for the last week in our camper van, and we're gonna do a guide or a review of Schladming, where to stay, where to eat, where to drink, and obviously how the trails are. So riders, if you're thinking of coming to Schladming, definitely check this video out. Phew! So why Schladming? Well, if you're a fan of the World Cup, you would know all the World Cup riders come here and train all the time. And you see their bangers on Instagram. And it's just been a place that I've really wanted to come. Also, Schladming and the surrounding areas has 3 bike parks, over 600 Ks of single trail, also 300 natural lakes and over 100 waterfalls. And if you've never come to Austria, I highly recommend it. It is such a beautiful country. So Schladming is situated in northwest Austria, about an hour, hour and a half from Salzburg. You can get a train here in about an hour, hour and a half, and you also can rent downhill bikes at the park. So the first point of call when arriving to any new destination is obviously find where to stay. And Barry and I always use Park for Nights for our camper van for finding new locations. So we punched in Schladming and we found Camping Zirngast. And riders, I'm really sorry if I butcher any of these Austrian names. Link in the show notes of every place we're talking about in this video. So we've stayed here a week. It's a lovely campsite. It's right next to the river, and it's about 2 minutes to the lift pass on my Kenevo SL and about 5 minutes on an analog bike. Great facilities, clean toilets, just a really nice campsite. And for a 6-meter camper van with Bayer and myself and Rushka, it's costing 56 euros a night. And I should mention that includes the summer card, which actually gives you discounts to the lift pass, which we'll get onto in a minute, and also gives you a lot of free things in Schladming and the surrounding areas. And riders, if you're looking for a cheaper alternative, actually Car Park 2, right next to the lift, is 28 euros a night. That's very basic camping. They do have a toilet, but not really many facilities. If you want to be comfortable, I'd recommend coming here. And also the cheaper parking doesn't have the summer card. And if you want to splash the cash and stay in a hotel, you're looking at around 130 up to like 500 a night. And I hear you legend riders saying, Sam, what about the free parking? Well, riders, I have not seen anyone free park in Austria. There must be some massive fines out, and I haven't seen it, so I wouldn't recommend it. So I know all you legend riders are here to see how the Schladming Bike Park is, and it's awesome. Been here a week. We're about to go out and do some POV of the trails. But first, what bike I've been on? I've been on the KSL, which is absolutely awesome for this bike park because you've got the extra weight at the bottom with the motor. Also, got the 320 watt-hour battery, so I can move between the trails. Also, Barry and I can move around the towns because she's got the Levo Gen 4. And if you're a fan of the channel, you'd know I did an absolute dream downhill build of the KSL a couple of months ago. And you also notice I've changed quite a few parts back to original. One, I set it up as a mullet, and it sat too low with the mullet. I tried it out, scared me. The bottom bracket was too low. Also had Olin downhill forks on it. Loved them, but because I wanted to get it in the camper van, I couldn't turn the bars enough to get it in the back. So I had to change back to the 38s. As soon as I get back to Madrid, the Olin's downhill forks are coming back on. Anyway, riders, absolutely love this beast. And before we crack on with the POV footage, a massive shout out to Quadlock, the long-term sponsor of Sans Bikes. You'll see all the POV footage. I'm actually reading notes off my phone, on my Quadlock, on my handlebars. Love it. And also, when you're in the towns looking for a restaurant or a bar, you can quite simply go into Google Maps, find where you want to go, put it on your Quadlock here, and simply follow the maps. I love it. You know, I used to hold my phone up and almost crash when you're trying to direct. So love the Quadlock. And riders, the legends at Quadlock are giving you legends a 10% discount off everything store-wide. Definitely check it out. Link in the show notes. Now we're going to go shoot some POV before it starts pouring. Let's go. Okay, now for a bit of POV style. So, been riding Schladming Bike Park for 1 week. And so the bike park's got 14 trails in total. and we're going to actually ride the World Cup or Pro downhill at the moment. It's a bit muddy, so I'm not sure I'll hit all the jumps and drops, but I have, whoa, I did do all of them. Big shout out to Rico, who I met here in the campsite. He actually towed me into some of the bigger step ups. And yeah, I mean, what I noticed first up in the bike park is just how safe it is. Very well designed. Lots of families here, lots of dads riding with their kids. Really great to see. And, oh, it's a bit muddier today. And the trails, so there's 14 trails. It caters for everyone. I think, you know, the trails that I've been on the most is I started off on Rookie Downhill, which is really good, you know. Got a little drop in here. And then a little, yeah, the bike's riding a bit slower. So yeah, I spent a fair bit of time on the first day on Rookie Downhill and then went to Pro Downhill, and Pro Downhill turns into World Cup. It's probably my favorite trail here for sure. We got a nice jump here, but just look how safe it is. It's a step up. We just go, so super safe jumps. Now we've got a big one. So we're down. Big kicker, straight over. And yeah, really well designed jumps. And you can like 50-50 case them, no problems. One thing I am gonna say is definitely bring some extra brake pads and do a bit of extra riding before you come here, because on the first day, actually the first 2 days, I got a lot of arm pump and couldn't ride for more than 3 hours because it is pretty steep. There's quite a bit of braking bumps as well, so it does take it out of you. Now let's talk pricing. So a day pass is 56 euros. And then they've got something really cool that I like, which they have a 4-hour pass. And that starts, when, we've got a road gap here. And that starts as soon as you use it for the first time. So it's not a morning pass, it's not an afternoon pass. And for me, I actually found that the best. I actually ended up buying 4-hour passes. It's enough riding for me. And also, it generally storms up, like it's a little bit more wet in the mornings. So the afternoon's normally better to ride. And yeah, the half-day pass is, I think like 52, but then with the summer card that you get from the camping, it makes it 44. And obviously if you buy more, you get it a little bit cheaper. So if you bought 4 days, 5 days, or a week, it becomes a little bit cheaper. But saying that, my advice would be just buy the 1 days, because we have had like 2 days kind of rained out. But also saying that, the trails ride very well in the wet. Like it's a little bit muddy here, but not too bad. Got a drop here. Almost came up short off that one. Definitely riding slower in the mud. And saying that, I did do, there's 99 jump line, which sounds amazing. It has been quite wet all week. I didn't enjoy it. I found it not that flowy. Like you had to pedal quite a lot to try and get transitions. Wasn't like a rhythm section to me. So yeah, wasn't a big fan of that. There's a drop in there, which is a little bit scary. But once you've done it the first time, it's pretty good. And yeah, there's a Pro Monster line, which at the tender age of 44, I'm gonna say, yeah, nah, that's not for me. Also, I had some problems with my brakes. Had to get a bleed,
and went to, link in the show notes, I think it was called Brundles, and they were awesome. They got 4 mechanics on duty. Cost me 75 euros to get 2 bleeds, not too bad. They did a great job. They also rent downhill bikes, which are 99 euros. I believe they're Mondrakers. And, oh, super greasy there. And they, funny enough, they rent Levos, Gen 3s, for cheaper than the downhill bike. So 60 euros for a Levo or 99 for a Mondraker downhill bike. So yeah, we're now on the World Cup track, which actually starts as pro downhill at the top and then changes to World Cup, which did confuse me a little bit. Great trail. Also worth noting, if you're not into the bike park stuff, there is like 600 Ks of single trail in the area. I didn't do any of the trails, but apparently the Panorama Trail is absolutely awesome. It's about 4 hours. It's definitely an e-bike trail, and they actually even have charging ports along the way. Definitely Austria know how to put the tourism on. Very impressed in total. Now it's a bit of mind over matter, the last big jump on World Cup, and you've got to hit it so fast without braking. Whoa! Just landed on the top. It's taken me so long to jump that. Like, it's really quite scary. You hit it at top speed. So overall, you know, I'll do my conclusion of Schladming at the end, but bike park, been very impressed. Not all gravy. I'd like to see more trails, you know, like Monster Jump Line, obviously I didn't hit, but that looks like a lot of fun, quite big trails. If it wasn't muddy and maybe I was on a proper downhill bike, maybe I would have hit them, maybe. Or maybe if I was 10 years younger. Yeah, it's pretty muddy here and super steep riders. And also, like the jump line, 99 jumps, I thought I'd love, but only rode it once. Was a bit disappointed with that trail. Yeah, I mean, I would like to, like, for a good mountain biker, which I think I'm a pretty good mountain biker, I think there's only a few trails that you really want to ride. So I'd like to see a few more trails here. And also we got stung a little bit with the weather. It rained quite a bit. Well, the POV's done. Now for a bit of food. So after 4 hours of riding, you definitely need a feed, and you don't need to go down to the town to do it, because there's actually like 4 or 5 restaurants. We're halfway up the mountain at the moment, and then at the top there's a few more. And check out the views, riders. I'm probably gonna get myself a snitty because I can't get enough of schnitzels in Austria. Let's check it out. How beautiful is this place? So beautiful. So you can obviously come here, have a quick beer or have a feed, and look at that view. So stunning. And riders, of course, I've ordered traditional Wiener Schnitzel with some cranberry sauce here and some chippies. This is the perfect midday break. You know, get in some good carbs and some good schnitzel and a traditional lemonade drink here, which is really lovely. So I'm going to tuck into this now. And I definitely feel recharged, maybe a little bit full. Probably won't be hitting the jump line anytime soon because I'm a little bit heavy, but definitely a great spot to eat. Let's go. Okay, so after a long day of riding, you definitely need a beer. And we're with Marcel here.
Nice to have you here.
Yeah, and we're in his beautiful restaurant. And Marcel, tell us about the restaurant.
Yes, we have a new restaurant here. So we have a new style. It's called Hücke auf Steirisch, which means the coziness out of the Dansk. So we also have an interpretation of Scandi-style food, but the Austrian way with some local ingredients.
Sounds amazing. I cannot wait to try it. And cheers. Cheers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And riders, the entrees have come out, and there's a lot of food here. Don't worry, I'm not eating alone. Bea, the camera lady, my wife, is behind the camera right now. She's going to eat all this. But can you explain a little bit about the food we have here? Starting off.
So that's the classic beef broth with some sliced pancakes and vegetables. It's a must-have in Austria.
And then we go on to
So that's the perfect dish if you've been riding the whole day. It's a pork sausage, which is served with some onions and radish, oil and vinegar, that's it, with some homemade bread on the side. Awesome. Over here we have the Danish dish, which we call smørrebrød, but we have it in the Austrian style with local char.
Yep. And what is this in front of us here?
So that's the delicious one. So it's the marrow bone. So you just take the small spoon, take it out on the bread, and have fun.
Thank you. Well, we're going to eat it now, and then we'll go on to the mains. Thank you.
Perfect.
So Barry and I just finished the entrees, and Marcel sneaked in the bone marrow. And I'm going to say it's nothing I would ever order, riders, but if you're in Austria, you should order it. It was awesome. So tell me, what do we have here?
So for the next course, we have some local mountain char, which we serve with some almonds on top. Then we have the parsley potato and some spinach. Yeah. For sure you know that one. It's the classic Viennese schnitzel.
And we have two wines here. What do we have?
So for the char, we have a very nice Sauvignon Blanc. It's also part of Styria. And Grüne Veltliner, which is of the lower part of Austria.
So we'll enjoy it. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See, riders, I told you she does exist. This is Bea, my wife, who's normally behind the camera and doing all the editing. So we just finished a beautiful meal here.
Really good.
You can't come to Austria without trying a traditional Austrian meal. So this meal here is going to set you back around 40 or 50 euros per head with a glass or two of wine. But there are definitely cheaper options. Bear and I have been here for a week. We had a kebab on the first day, which was about 7 or 8 euros. And then we've had a few different meals, which I would say for the lunch meals, because we like to have the bigger meal at lunchtime, being Spanish, being like 49% Spanish, we're about between like 40 and 60 euros for both of us with one drink. So I think it's like pretty reasonable pricing. And also, riders, a pro tip out there, bring some cash with you, because there's been some places that haven't accepted cards, which had been a little bit difficult for us. And also, I love doing the beer index, because when I go to a new place, I love to know what the beer is, because I do like to drink a little bit of beer. So beers are going to set you back. In a supermarket, very standard, it's going to cost you about 1 to 2 euros for like a 500ml beer. And in a bar or a restaurant, it's going to cost you for a small beer, so 300 mils, around 4 euros, and for a pint or 500 mils, around 6 euros. But we have had an absolute fantastic meal, and I highly recommend Marcels Restaurant. He has nailed it.
Okay, Legend Riders, we're coming to the end of the video, and I've got a bit of extra information that's really going to help if you're coming to Schladming. First up, if you're coming with your family and they don't like mountain biking, there is a lot of things to do here. We've got hiking, we've got natural swimming pools, we've got canoeing, we've got mountain go-karting, which does look like a lot of fun, we've got rafting, and also you can take a day trip or a morning trip to the glacier that we didn't do because the weather has been a bit bad. But a lot of that is included in the summer card, so definitely if you are coming, check out the summer card. And then onto amenities. We've got about 4 to 6 supermarkets in the area, a little bit more expensive than say Germany or Spain, but they're completely fine. I wouldn't be stocking up the campervan. And then we've got about 4 or 5 bike shops as well. I got my brakes bled, cost me 75 euros. I didn't think it was too bad, lots of spare parts. And if you want to buy wet weather gear, which I did buy, pretty good. Like there's a lot of shops around. Also great restaurants and bars. And then onto the cost of petrol. So we paid 156, we filled up next to Audi, just a little bit out of Schladming, and it cost us July 2025, 1.56 a litre, which I think is pretty good. A little bit more expensive than Spain, a little bit cheaper than Germany. And then onto weather. And riders, we are in the Alps here, so we definitely have 4 seasons in one day. We've had a lot of rain, and then when the sun pops out, it gets quite hot. Saying that, the trails ride very well in the wet. Quite a few braking bumps were developing in the wet, but you know, it is a big bike park and you do expect that. I wouldn't put off my trip coming to Schladming for the weather. Just bring the appropriate clothes. And then, how long do you stay when you come here? Well, for me, I reckon a weekend is sufficient. 3, 4, 5 days. I probably wouldn't spend more than a week here because I think there could be more trails. And that comes on to my final thoughts of Schladming. So Schladming is a beautiful town, beautiful people, beautiful food, great campsite, really enjoyed everything. Amazing bike park. For me, they could have a few more trails. Like I rode the World Cup, the Pro Line, the Rookie Downhill. They were my 3 favorite trails. I'd like to see, for a place with this much infrastructure, I'd like to see a few more like mid-level to advanced riding. So we really only have the World Cup track and the Pro Downhill, which I really liked, the one that I would probably ride the most. And the monster jumps, maybe if I was 10 years younger, I would love them as well. 99 jumps, didn't have enough flow for me, but again, it was wet. For me, I think it's a very good bike park, very well set up for everything. Maybe a few more trails would be nice. Anyway, riders, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any questions, like always, put them in the comments, love to help, and you know we're gonna see you soon.